Hey guys, today we're going to talk about how to sync up multiple cameras with different audio sources. So I have an audio recorder that's using this beautiful microphone, and then I have one camera that's recording my lavalier, and then I have a secondary camera that is recording with a shotgun. So I don't know when you would ever potentially use this exact setup, but sometimes you might have your audio source different from your video source. You might have two camera angles. So instead of you spending hours and hours of time to sync your footage, I'm going to show you how to do it in a simpler way, in two different ways that you can do it. The first one is how, back in the day when movies sets used to have the clapperboard. So that's to help sync up your footage based on a really loud noise that's going to be in all of your camera shots. So in order to do that, I'm going to have my camera operator clap really loudly, and I'm going to show you how we can sync it up. So Courtney, if you could clap. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to sync up our clips using that specific clap that Courtney just did.
Okay guys, now we're going to talk about how to sync up our clips manually using the clap that you heard in the video before. So what we're going to want to do is take all of our video sources. You can see camera 1, camera 2, and the audio recorder. And let's move camera 1 to track 1, camera 2 to track 2, and then our audio recorder to track 3. Now, if you play everything right now, it's not going to be synced up, so you're going to hear kind of an echo almost because
you could clap.
Courtney,
okay.
You could clap.
So now I'm going to show.
So because it's not synced up, you're hearing that weird echo going on because you have all these different audio sources that are playing. So what we want to do is manually sync it up using the clapping. So what we're going to want to do first is you see this little S solo button here. So that is taking the video track that you soloed and it's canceling out the other tracks. So that way it's only focusing on the track that's soloed. So now let's find the clap that Courtney did, which I'm going to assume is right around here because you can tell that there is one loud noise and it's kind of all by itself. So I'm going to assume that that's Courtney. So what we're going to want to do is go frame by frame using your left and your right keys, and then let's try to find the very first frame that you hear the clap. So that sounds like it's right about there, and you can tell because if you look at the audio levels, it's going to jump up to be above 0. So right there. So let's go ahead and cut right there. And then we're going to do the same thing for camera 2. So we're going to solo that track because we only want to hear camera 2's audio. And let's try to find the exact moment that Courtney claps. Again, if you look right here, you can see that there's a loud noise here all by itself on our waveform. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take our left and our right keys, go frame by frame until we hear the first noise of the clap. Sounds like it's right about here. And then we're going to do it on the audio recorder side. It looks like that's all the way back here. Okay, so now you can see that we have all of our cut clips, and we're going to want to kind of align all the cutting at the same part. So let's move camera 1 to match the cut where camera 2 is, and then same for our audio recorder. So now that all of the cuts are all in line, now our audio should be synced. So now when we play everything and we unsolo it, we should hear it all play in sync.
Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to sync up our clips using...
And it sounds like it is in sync. Another way to check it is to solo. Let's say we're going to solo camera 1's track, but we're going to play camera 2 video track. So therefore you can make sure that it's synced up that way because you're playing an audio track and a video track from two separate cameras.
That specific clap that Courtney just did. Way. Now I'm going to show you how to do it in a way.
Okay, and now we know that it's properly synced up. So now you're good to go on editing.
Premiere lets you click one button and Premiere will auto.
Okay, so that is the more difficult way. So I'm going to show you the way that Premiere syncs everything up manually or automatically. So what we're going to want to do is select all of our clips, our camera 1, camera 2, and our audio recorder, and we're going to right click. And then we're going to select Create Multi-Camera Source Sequence. And what we're going to do is we're going to want to add a custom name, and let's just call it Multicam Clip. and we're going to want our synchronization point to be audio because we're going to sync it with the audio, and then we're going to want mix down because we want it to look at both channels. You don't need to worry about any of this other stuff. So go ahead and hit OK. And then it's going to process it, and what it's doing is it's going to go into each of your video clips and it's going to be listening for similar features, and then it's going to sync them up based on what it hears. So what you can see is it put them in a process clips folder. It didn't delete your footage, it's just in this process clips folder, which you could leave it in there or you can pull it back out if you want and put it in the regular clips bin, completely up to you. But what you want is this multicam clip. Remember that we named it multicam. So this is the clip you want, but it's actually created its separate sequence. So if you drag that into your timeline here, you can see that you only see one camera angle. If you hit this wrench tool, you see that says multicam, when you scroll over, you can see multiple clips. So that means that you can do one of two things. You can actually edit if you have two different video clips or two different video cameras. What you can do is you can play it, and let's say you want to cut to
we'll go through it. Okay, hang
this.
on, wait 1 second.
And then let's say we want to cut back and forth. If you hit pause, as you can see, it did those cuts for you automatically. So if you're editing like a 5-camera shoot for some reason, you can do those cuttings just like you're doing a live switch. It's actually a really neat feature that Premiere has. So let's say that you wanted to use a lavalier microphone because it looks like it picked up.
Okay, so now that we learned to do it in a way that Premiere,
it might have picked up another audio source. So in order to get into your multicam, if you command double click, this is Premiere's way of what we did the manual version, and it synced them all up this way. So you can see that you have these 2 tracks muted, and then this one is open. So let's say you wanted to solo this track, which I believe is the lavalier microphone.
manual way. Now I'm going to show you how to do it in a way that Premiere way. Now I'm going to show you how to do.
So whatever you do in this multicam sequence, it's going to automatically update in your regular sequence. So now when we play it back here,
now that we learned how to do it the manual way,
it's playing the actual lavalier that we selected through here. Now if that's really confusing, which some people get confused by the nested sequence, which is what Premiere does to create the sequence, you can actually just work off of this timeline and you can just edit as if, you know, we didn't have any of the nested sequences that you saw here. So just to reiterate, you're going to want to drag the multicam clip into your sequence, and this is what is called a nested sequence, meaning that this is not your full sequence, that there's something hidden inside there. So to access this, you command double click and it's going to open up the nested sequence, which is where all of your video clips are and all of your audio clips.